Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and in this video I'd like to give a guide for the floor B28 in the Brutal Singularity Tower. Blitzrad is weak to water and he has increased magic defense, so you want to use physical water DPS, and the boss uses both physical and magic lightning attacks, so beside increasing your defenses you want to boost your lightning resistance, but you also need defensive buffs too. And also important, Blitzrad will keep summoning bombs and you have to kill them before they explode, otherwise it's a wipe. And Blitzrad will also have multiple sigil phases and required sigils are combined, so it doesn't matter which ones you pick, but I recommend having 2 sigil boost slots to make it a little bit easier. And also, if you do enough damage in those 3 waves of bombs, you'll skip the emergency repair phase and Blitzrad will not restore its HP, but in order to do that you need to get the HP bar close to red. Best physical war DPS is now Yuffie with her rebirth weapon and Glenn with his war combo, but both are limited, and it's nice to see that Sephiroth and Cloud are still viable, although Cloud's C ability is much weaker and he doesn't have War Arcanum, Exploit Weakness or War Damage buffs, so you'll need higher stats than with Yuffie or Glenn. And Aerith is of course the perfect healer here with Baharut and Kamura, providing all those necessary buffs, but other characters work too, even though they won't be as good. But all you need are physical and magic defense buffs, water resistance debuff, and if possible physical attack buff as well as physical defense debuff to inflict on the boss for more damage, and get that and you have some options to build your team and choose characters you want to use. But I'm going to use Mats as healer and Seth and Cloud are my both DPS, but of course if you have Glenn or Yuffie they are much better, as Cloud's Maritime is really outdated, but it still should work, mainly because Seth and Cloud do DPS together. And I tried to lower my DPS a bit, but with this team it's pretty close for me to kill the boss before it wipes me, and there is not much I could do, but it's mostly just about surviving Blitzrad's initial phases, so I recommend having at least 200 physical and magic defense with some lightning resistance. And also, since I always use Cloud and Sephiroth, I have some of their overspeed nodes unlocked, so I'm not sure how that affects them, but I have few of them. Matt has Gear Voucher outfit with Gigantic Shield, Bramble Spine to buff physical attack and Syringe to buff defenses, Ultimate Weapon, Cura in all Cure slots, and this one is a stat stick, but you could use Cura for single target heals or just buff with Bramble Spine and apply regen. And here, just your best sigil materia, and then sub-equipment slots, 2 weapon with physical and magic defense for allies, and this one also has lightning resistance, and then Shark Slayer for HP and buff debuff extension. But if you have Matt's healer outfit, you shouldn't need another HP weapon like I do, so you could equip something else like weapon with physical attack for allies. Sephiroth has War Arcanum outfit with Heliacal Racing, Tempest for DPS and Nameless for HP and lightning resistance, Genji, Triangle Sigil in boost slot and 2 stat sticks, and those are mainly defensive ones, and then in sub-equipment slots 2 offensive weapons to max out Sephiroth's physical attack and then physical attack for allies. I have Cloud with Bahamut outfit and Leviathan, Maritime for DPS and Hard Edge to debuff physical defense, Ultimate Buster, Circle Sigil in boost slots and then 2 mainly defensive stat sticks, and then sub-equipment slots a weapon with lightning resistance, Fire Gloves with water potency, and a weapon with HP and buff debuff extension for Hard Edge to last a little bit longer, especially since mine is Soul OB6, so it has a shorter duration. Alright, Blitzrad, and it's the same exact battle that we had in Crash and then in the previous tower. but it just has a little bit more HP, I think. But the same thing, just don't sit on AB on your DPS characters and buff your defenses. And here the first attack is always physical one followed by a magic one, so make sure that your defenses are buffed. And here on your DPS, don't sit on AB, even though your stance isn't maxed. You can't afford to sit, because on the character that you'll be using Leviathan with, you have to get it ready just before the bombs explode. And otherwise, if you sit on AB, you might not be able to get it in time. But this magic attack, it always hurts. So if possible, you want high potency buffs. But also, sure, you could heal your whole team, but you want to prioritize increasing your DPS, because this battle is a DPS race. So if you can, just prioritize that as long as you can survive. But also those bombs, I recommend debuffing their water resistance, because you are preparing for Leviathan. And after you debuff them, just continue doing DPS on the boss. But also, Blitzrad will keep attacking you, so be careful. If you can, try to switch defense. Sometimes it's not possible, but if you can always try. Alright, all buffs and debuffs are inflicted, so as soon as you get Leviathan, just try to use it. And with the overspeed tree unlocked, now if you're close, you could always use overspeed to try to get faster. But alright, it's the same phase, same attack. The physical one followed by magic one after. Because we are looking at 3 waves of bombs. And actually I'm going to do that, because with mats it is not the easiest way to survive here. Alright, let's just do this. And we should be fine. As long as you have your buffs active, the defensive ones. Alright, overspeed, and actually just my mats doesn't have anything unlocked in the overspeed tree, just so I consume less AB on healing here. But now, same thing. Just start debuffing the boss while doing damage to it, and just debuff those bombs while you're getting ready for Leviathan. And I recommend try using your overspeed as soon as you have it. It doesn't matter when, if it's fully buffed, fully charged or not, but it's actually very beneficial in this battle, especially to get Leviathan earlier, so it won't be as close to them exploding, but also you do a little bit more damage. It doesn't matter how much of that overspeed node tree or level you have unlocked, it just by consuming 1 less AB you do more damage. Alright, Cloud's buff has actually expired, so I have to reapply it. Sephiroth's buff also expired, but you have to prioritize survival. Because the boss now starts to do more damage to you, so it gets harder because he has that lightning potency buffed. Alright, so I'm going to do a thing. So one this and gigantic shield. Just so I have those high potency buffs active here. And I know Sephiroth and Cloud are sitting on max AB, but I use it in a second. But yeah, as you can see, it gets a little bit closer to dying. Right, let's just do this. And this is the last wave of bombs. So actually I'm going to use that overspeed again. Right, here, this, and now the boss. And I should have Leviathan ready. It won't be even close because the bombs still have a bit left. And it's perfect. If you have enough DPS, you don't even have to debuff those bombs. You just can use Leviathan and don't worry about them. It just depends on your stats and the team. But alright, this last attack. If you're unbuffed, always try to switch to defense on those normal attacks. But of course, alright, emergency repair. And if you didn't have damage, you wouldn't do that. You would just skip this phase. But you have to get Blitzrad's HP almost to red, so mostly you play it. But now even though he healed, his defenses are lowered, so you'll do more damage. But this is a DPS race now, because those sigil phases, they will not last forever. But here just try to break those sigils. So one more, so actually let's buff Cloud here. And with Matt, he won't be really doing anything anymore. You just have to pay attention so your DPSs are buffed. The physical attack, but the boss won't attack you anymore. So with Matt, you can just sit on his AB until we get another sigil phase. Alright, I still have to debuff the bombs. But now as soon as you debuff them, just go back to breaking sigils, because it's a lot of them, and even though you, at least with this team, you have 2 sigil boost slots, it is still quite short. I think with 1 sigil boost slot you might have to use overspeed to be able to break it in time. To make it a little bit faster, I'm just going to use that overspeed on Matt. And that should be fine here. And whenever you can, just continue doing DPS. And another one. And as you can see, it's a lot of sigils. If you manage to sneak an attack, it'll be great. But mostly it's just about those sigils that you break them in time. Right, one more. Just use it with Cloud here. Oh, and actually I have to buff Sephiroth again. And that should be fine. But now, let's see. Yeah, he's charging his final attack. So be careful, because it's not about the bombs anymore. Ignore them. Just continue doing DPS on the boss, because this Rolling Thunder, it will kill you. It's a wipe. So you have to kill the boss in time before he finishes charging it. So for me, as you can see, it is pretty close. But yeah, that's I'm very certain that Leviathan should kill it. Yeah, perfect. But yeah, they mostly make all those bosses very tanky. Just sponges for attacks. They have millions of HP. But yeah, that's the whole battle. And of course, if you have better DPS, Glenn or Yuffie, you'll just speedrun through the battle. You'll skip that emergency repair phase and it'll be much shorter, but I thought I tried to make this guide more accessible, so Cloud is the most accessible character since he has almost a launch weapon. But yeah, I hope you found my guide helpful, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next one.